culture is actually damn good.
We're not urinating on the fire.
You can stop asking that question. I'm going to be calling the defense.
What I talked to Russell about is none of your business.
In this year's owners' meetings, not much has changed in the NFL landscape, but there were a few big decisions made. In an attempt to massage the egos of the refs union, the motion to make roughing the passer reviewable was rejected. It doesn't matter. We all knew it was going to be like reviewing pass interference a few years ago, where only a play or two was overturned and blatant PI wasn't because reasons. You will, however, see more potential ref ball and players with the number 0 on the field. There will also be no gradual cuts down to the final roster in the preseason from 90 players, which should keep starters fresh for a probable wave of injuries in week 2 of the season. Speaking of changes that no one wants, there's a chance that Thursday Night Football will have flex scheduling. It's more than likely going to be up for vote in May, and would give teams at least 15 days notice of a change from Sunday to Thursday. This would be terrible for the game, but remember, the dollar is what drives the NFL. TV rights fees are far more important to the league than the fans, and we all know it. It'll probably be reality barring a miracle. On to the NFC's moves. Quarterback carousel in Indy continues to spin round and round. Matt Ryan's veteranism and skill was a surprisingly predictable failure, and he's finally being put out of his misery in the legendary glue factory. Such a terrible fate. But we must look to the future, and the next victim of the QB machine will be one taken in the draft. Probably. There are some rumors about them going after Lamar, but why settle for rumors when you can have the legend that is Gardner Minshew? How about Samson Ebukam for your defense? Or giving Matt Gay the biggest free agent deal a kicker has ever signed? Those are decent moves, especially considering their kicking woes, but does it really move the needle for the Colts? Until they solve their QB conundrum, they are doomed. It's the worst kept secret in the world, and there isn't much they can do about it for now. Why do you think they traded Stephon Gilmore for the cap space? Unless they really are going for Lamar.
Indianapolis Colts select Anthony Richardson, quarterback, Florida.
Say hello to the highly projectable, toolsy quarterback who didn't do shit in college, but jumps up draft boards because of what people think he could be. I don't understand modern NFL logic. Allen and Mahomes are 1 in a million success stories, yet every team sees a guy like this and says, I can fix him! For fuck's sake, even Gators fans are shitting bricks that he went this high, he was that inconsistent. I figured they'd go for Will Levis since he got the Peyton Manning seal of approval, but AR-15 is a Colt for one reason. Shane Steichen. He helped to develop Jalen Hurts into a superstar, and they're gunning for the same thing here. I'm just warning you now. He needs time to cook. If you expect this guy to be good on day one, you're gonna be in for pain. Although the Colts are pretty good at giving their fans that. Jim Irsay isn't just a clown, he's the entire goddamn circus. The Dunning-Kruger effect personified. You can lead an owner to competence, but you can't stop him from ruining everything. Not only meddling in team affairs, he's chosen to piss off his best players as well by not keeping his fucking mouth shut. You really had to ramble about how running backs are replaceable on Twitter, did ya? You really said no one would feel bad if Jonathan Taylor was out of the league? What the hell did you say to Taylor in private? Now he wants absolutely nothing to do with the team, and the Colts put him on the PUP list. He's demanded a trade, but considering their price point, they want to send a message. He's not a whale in captivity. He'll have a dead cap attached. Pretty bold when Zach Moss is out with injury, you know. With a regressed offensive line, question marks at receiver, and a defense forced to carry the team, I can say one thing. Anthony Richardson is going to die. At least give him a chance to survive. Jesus! One word comes out of my mouth in regards to the AFC. Stacked. It's going to be a goddamn bloodbath in this conference. And it can be argued whomever makes the Super Bowl will win it outright. Regardless, predicting anything is somewhat of a coin flip. In the AFC East, regardless of competition, the Bills are still the best in class in my opinion. AFC North, barring more injury to Joe Burrow, Cincy takes it with their elite offense. The AFC South, it's Jacksonville's to lose. They have to win it by default, right? Although we did say that about Tennessee last year. And the AFC West is a Kansas City affair. As usual. Wild cards, though, they're really hard to gauge. Pick them out of a hat, I guess. Ravens, Chargers, and Jets. Why Jets? Because this is usually how ridiculous it tends to be. Sue me. I'm sorry for all the teams I jinxed as always. I regret nothing. Welcome to the NFL, rookie. Anthony Richardson will do... okay. Really, he was able to not look like a complete greenhorn? Very well then. It unfortunately doesn't mean a damn thing for the Colts despite their defense going balls out in a blaze of glory. Perhaps if the offense could convert on a 4th down every once in a while or hold on to the football, maybe then they could have stolen this game in the dead of night. Fortunately for them, Jacksonville wasn't all that keen on pushing forward with any sort of success. Thank you, Colts defense, playing your goddamn lights out. Things seemed manageable, though, until one moment in particular.
First down and 20. Oh, Lawrence hit as he got rid of the football.
This is still a live ball. The refs have not signaled anything.
And it is taken all the way back into the end zone by DeForest Buckner.
Let this be a lesson to you kids. When you don't hear the whistle, keep playing. The ball's still live. It's very fortunate that the Colts are the epitome of raw and lacking their best weapon on offense, or else they may have been able to do something. What a pity, falling short yet again in week 1. For the 10th year in a row. You're gonna get AR killed with the way you're using him. Here I was thinking that the Texans had a slight chance of being a better team than the Colts this year. Hey, there are different shades of shit, it can be measured that way. Perhaps I underestimated how terrible Houston really is. A defense that could hold on against Lamar could do so versus Anthony Richardson, right? Nope, that was a lie. Diced on the ground again and again and again. Even as AR was knocked out due to a concussion, the misery did not end. Gardner Minshew picked up the slack. CJ Stroud is being sentenced to die behind whatever this O-line is. It's a miracle he threw for as many yards as he did. At this rate, the correct comparison is 2002 David Carr. The whole city died on repeat. I saw more fight on the goddamn concourse than out of the Texans. I'd call a few of those brawlers up for the practice squad. It couldn't be any worse than being outmatched by the Colts of all teams. Ugly, ugly football. Conditions that epitomize the mess on display on both teams in this sordid display. The same tropical storm that's raining down on New York is being dealt with here. And apparently that means the Ravens must suffer being watered down. If you guess that they'd horrifically play down to competition in these conditions, you get nothing. This is what they pretty much do on regularity. We don't even get the Anthony Richardson versus Lamar sprinting contest in this one. Gardner Minshew and his meme magic get the call today. Not that it matters, since the Ravens kneecap themselves at every conceivable opportunity. Fumbles aplenty, 3 and outs, being unable to stop Zach Moss whenever he rumbles into the second level. Sure, blame some of it on Matt Gay turning into peak Justin Tucker today, but this is ridiculous. Indianapolis shouldn't be anywhere close to this game, spirited effort on their part or not. The game is coming down to the wire. The Ravens are squeaking by with a 1-point lead like the little squirt that comes out when you sit on the toilet. That's what it feels like here. Indy has the ball at their own goal line, but... Oh no, Gardner, what have you done? You pulled an Orlovsky? Don't look into the eyes of hell, Gardner! Gardner! Now up by 3 and getting ball back, the Ravens should win this one, right? Nope, they get chicken shit in their play calling and are forced to punt. At this point, the Ravens are down to their 4th string secondary, so Minshew's able to dice them up pretty easily, and Matt Gay turns into Justin Tucker yet again. Game time. The Ravens still have a chance to pull this off, though. They stumble and bumble, but there's space for Justin Tucker himself to do his magic.
Kick is on its way! Justin Tucker, and it comes up short!
Oh my. I don't care that it was a 61-yarder in terrible elements. This is a shocking revelation. Overtime will come, and it will be just as ugly as the 4 quarters before. Offensive stagnation aplenty in the mud-soaked trenches. With the Colts turned away by the Ravens' defense in no man's land. This should mean the Ravens escape with a win, right? Right, Baltimore?
Jackson, incomplete!
Yes, that was defensive pass interference on this 4th down, but forgive me if I'm not feeling overly sympathetic to their plight. John Harbaugh has proven time and time again that he got outcoached into a blender. And here comes Matt Gay to deliver the dagger.
Snap good, hold good, kick on the way! And he's done it!
Indy takes away the game in a Mayflower truck in the middle of the night. This game should have been won by the Ravens at least 15 times over, yet they pissed it away in a drunken bender by the pier. As desolate and abandoned as the inner harbor. And the punishment for failing is even worse. Their injury report. This is a goddamn Pro Bowl roster. It's beginning again. Is your strength and conditioning simply New Age voodoo? For the 3rd year in a row? A tale of 2 Rams teams. The frustrations of a group trying to rebound after last year's disaster unfold on a grand Indianapolis stage. First half is a story of ascension. LA proceeds to flash the ability that made them champions less than 2 years ago. Indy just can't get out of their own way. Or is that just the Rams defense? Either way, it's a comedy of errors for the Colts to the tune of a 23-0 deficit. Let go of the Jets and cruise for the rest of the game. Cue the turnaround point. Matthew Stafford's health is fleeting for this world. He suffered a hip injury in the game. After this point, the offense can do pretty much jack and shit. Not to mention with a defense that is continually taxed and exhausted, they learned that Indianapolis is a young and hungry team. The Colts will slowly but surely chip away at that deficit under Anthony Richardson's might. They'll flash the talent that made him the 4th overall pick, efficiently dissecting the Rams' defense on several big drives. Not to mention the Rams' offense is hobbled and can't get anything going. AR has a chance to be a hero for the first time in the NFL. Against an outgunned defense, Richardson ascends to what the Colts think he can be: a leader. He's helped them from the brink to tie the game. 23 unanswered points. Not too shabby, but the time has come for overtime. The Rams will get ball first and proceed to never let it go. Death by 1,000 paper cuts. Only in a way that Stafford can. And who better to win it all than the great sensation known as Puka Nacua?
3rd down and 4. Stafford throws. There he is. Nacua to the end zone. Rams win.
You got really fucking lucky you were facing the Colts. You faced a team that wasn't trying to rebuild on the fly, you would have had your shit kicked in 10 times over. I'm not congratulating you for this. Get the hell out of my sight. It was a rocky road, but sometimes those have to be traveled to realize a fact of life. You don't know what you have until it isn't there. The Colts have been close in games this year, but something's missing. They lack a safety valve for AR. A bitter months-long standoff has led to a realization. Indy needs Jonathan Taylor. On a lonely Friday night, Jim Irsay takes one of his guitars and an amplifier to the outside of Jonathan's house. He plays a sweet, sentimental serenade begging him to come back. The lyrics are nectar to Taylor's ears. A 3-year deal worth $14 million a season. $26.5 million guaranteed. A good way to start to ask for forgiveness for stiffing him earlier. To Indy's joy, Jonathan says yes. The impasse is over. Glad to see the more logical heads prevailed in this situation. Irsay didn't get in his own way for once, and Taylor got the bag. I'd say everyone wins here. So Indy, I have a legitimate question. Why did you throw all of that money at Jonathan Taylor if Zach Moss has been running hog wild against defenses over the past few weeks? Don't get me wrong, Taylor is the better running back, but it seems like excess goods. A classic AFC South rivalry game is his return match. And it's an even contest for the most part. Indy and Tennessee are both trying to reload on the fly. And with Anthony Richardson adding new wrinkles to the offense... Welcome back, Gardner Minshew under center. It won't be too much of a downgrade, at least in the throwing department. I do take issue with not taking the damn points before half, however. Just take them. They're free. You never know when you're gonna need them. Fortunately for the Colts, the Titans' offense is very hit or miss depending on who they play. In the second half, they start hitting. They hit a lot. It turns into an offensive showcase for both sides, which is pretty standard stuff for this classic rivalry game. The question is who fucks up first. Both teams are putting up points, but the Colts still have a 4-point lead. In the fourth quarter, Tennessee is pressing near the goal line and has a 4th and 1. The good news, they hand the ball off to Derrick Henry. If they run him out of shotgun to the outside, why neutralize what he's best at? More bad news, the Titans defense can't stop the Colts on a long-ass 7-minute drive. Game finished. Indy played you like a fiddle, Tennessee. I know you boys still think you're competitive, but if you can't beat a young, hungry team like the Colts, you might as well pack it in. Isn't your run defense supposed to be good? This game is somehow for sole possession of the AFC South. Ponder that as you congratulate the Jags on the win. Games in Duval, the Colts have absolutely no chance. For whatever reason, regardless of month or who they throw out there, Indy inexplicably reverts back to a JV team. Is it the humidity? No. Is it a curse involving Mayflower trucks? Is it something else? Gardner Minshew had his chance at revenge. He hadn't thrown a pick all season to this point. Against his old team, he had 3 of them. And the running game had nothing as well. The Jags offense, meanwhile, had a calm, efficient day, which is a much-needed sight for sore eyes. Indianapolis doesn't have this joy. It's their 8th straight loss in Duval. And their new AR toy isn't just broken, he might need season-ending surgery. This franchise really is cursed. No matter what they do, the Colts are forever doomed to be cursed. Pissing generational QBs into the wind has brought them the wrath of the football gods. This year is not to be one where everything implodes on itself, but it must be one of constant teasing and punishments that rival Joe. Deshaun Watson is terrible, but this blessing for Indy was short-lived. He was full thanks to injury. Then he cleared concussion protocol, yet was still on the bench. Yeah, sure it was to protect him. You can say he fucking sucks, it's fine. A game featuring XFL legend PJ Walker should be a relatively easy victory for Indy. However, they forgot one thing. The Browns' defense is fucking incredible. Myles Garrett is out here doing his best Superman impression, bending offensive lines and leaping tall blockers in a single bound to keep Cleveland in the game. Eat your heart out, Joe Woods. Jim Schwartz's men have come to play. Too bad the Browns' offense can't do much of anything. Thanks to some heroic efforts from Uncle Rico Minshew and Jonathan Taylor, it becomes a battle of attrition. Cleveland's defensive curtains suffocating and creating endless opportunities for their own team. And the Colts trying to overcome the power of such a defense in general. It turns into a back-and-forth contest, with 8 lead changes throughout. Dustin Hopkins kicks a field goal to put the Browns up by 2. But unfortunately, the defense was allowed one really sloppy play, and let Michael Pittman slip away into hyperspace for a touchdown to retake the lead. Now the pressure's on. Cleveland has one last chance at glory, and they corner the Colts in the red zone. But here's where the curse continues.
47 seconds left. 9th play of the drive. Walker under pressure. Football is loose. That's a live football. And Indianapolis has it. Buckner.
So what's the catch? Illegal contact negating the play. How lovely. Ref ball or not, that's brutal. How the hell do they one up this?
Walker from the gun throws. Back of the end zone. Incomplete. Looking for Peoples-Jones. And another flag.
This ball is catchable? Fuck, man, the pass was 5 yards over the receiver's head. Paul Bunyan wouldn't have caught it in bounds. Another game ruined by blatant ref ball.
Hunt. Did he get in? Touchdown.
Indy got straight up fucked. How wonderful. Cleveland wins another game in spite of themselves thanks to fluke bullshit and high-end talent. Conveniently, the second game in 2 weeks where they benefited from ref ball. They're turning into the Steelers in real time. I'm just so proud of them. They're growing up so fast. I'd like to think that all of Saints Nation is holding Pete Carmichael against his will in a rusty old shack on the bayou. With how the offense performed against the Colts, there's no way that this is the same unit that we've seen over the past few weeks. A Saints team that played up to full potential? Are we in an alternate timeline? Brilliant chemistry between Carr and his receivers, a balanced attack, and over 500 yards of a tremendous bounty. Throwing to the explosiveness of Rashid Shaheed, that's a fantastic idea. The thing is, the Colts did their best to keep up with the assault, but by the end it was intercepted to give New Orleans more life. The Saints pull away on the road and win. And it's a much-needed one at the end of the day. It slings them right back into contention for the division that should not exist. And we'll probably be yelling at them for the same offensive ineptitude next week. Indianapolis, in the meantime, is simulating the season equivalent of Charlie Brown kicking the football. Jim Irsay mentioned that the NFL told him they fucked up last week, which means that Rodgers probably going to give him a permanent vacation in a vat of acid. No one one-ups the Shield. No one. One of the worst-kept secrets in football was that Frank Reich really wanted C.J. Stroud as his quarterback. Owner David Tepper allegedly meddled in team affairs and forced them to draft Bryce Young instead. The real secret is that while Stroud has done amazingly in Houston, he probably would have struggled in this shit pile as well. Young's stubborn first-time naked run of Dark Souls will continue on, despite being stuck on the Asylum Demon. Bryce, like many rookie QBs, is trying to do way too much and overthinking everything. He's forcing throws instead of seeing the field. Indianapolis merely had to punish easy mistakes for maximum damage. Bryce threw 3 touchdowns on the day. What incredible chemistry he had with Kenny Moore. Only problem is Kenny isn't on the Panthers. Colts offense didn't even have to do all that much. Bryce was generating production for them. All but a free victory in their book. And they'll take it. I'm under the belief that it's more on the Panthers shit show than Young, but right now, not looking too good. Same goes for that first you gave the Bears for him. Good luck on Thursday. Wir haben Deutschland anscheinend das NFL-Äquivalent zum vs.LAR verpasst. Sie werden durchgehend mit schrecklichem Football verarscht. Zumal erst einmal haben es die Patriots geschafft. sich auch auf einem anderen Kontinent zu blamieren. Ihre Offense verfügt über ähnlich Willkommen wie die Weimarer Republik. Man konnte so sehen, wie Mac Jones einen Pass nach dem anderen verkackt, während seine Line es nicht schafft, vor ihm zu blocken und die Receiver jeden Ball fallen lassen. Indianapolis glaubt, dass sich eigentlich nur einen Stuhl zu stoppen und könnte entspannt seine Marshmallows über New Englands brennender Leichte lüften. Dieses Spiel war scheiße. Große und erträglicher Scheiße. Wenn ich den Patriots in der Red Zone so schaue, wünschte ich mir, ich war blind. Befällt der Chipshots und Little Mac, der dicke mit einigen der schlechtesten Würfer seiner Karriere von Glasjockey geschlagen würde. Der Mac ist abgekürzt und nur der Genius Store kann noch helfen. Seine Zeit in New England ist vorbei. Sein Klon Bailey Zappi übernahm und brachte es fertig, noch beschissener zu spielen. Ein Fake Spike, der in Triple Coverage geworfen wird? Gott, dieses Team ist erbärmlich. Schießt sie nach Polen ab. Sogar die werden das beleidigend finden. There haven't been many surprises in this NFL season, as order has been the name of the game. However, there's one question many scholars might ask. How the hell do the Indianapolis Colts keep winning? There might be a few reasons. One being their defense. It's doing a fantastic job of holding opponents at bay. And despite Shaquille Leonard's talents being sapped by injuries, they've neutralized most things thrown at them. The easy schedule they have might be an asterisk, but Tampa Bay isn't exactly a slouch of an opponent. Or they aren't in theory. For whatever reason, the Buccaneers just never had a solution for anything Indy threw at them. I will admit they're injured to hell in the secondary, but the whole defense has been sloppy as of late. Any chance to recover to tie will be squandered. Tampa Bay will get it back to one score. The Colts are giving them chances to win. Yet every opportunity turns into a 30-yard game by Indianapolis on 4th and 1. It's more frustrations to go with the continued frustrations. And it will only go on as Todd Bowles continues to throw his own players under the bus. What's that? Tampa has another chance, you say?
This is two-down territory here. Mayfield football's loose. Who's got it? Indianapolis has recovered.
There's a reason why they've lost 6 of 7. Yes, your eyes aren't deceiving you. The Indianapolis Colts have a record over 500. They're currently holding a fucking playoff spot. I can't believe it either. Some good work by Shane Steichen and company. Only if Jim Irsay wasn't an entire circus of scatterbrained takes, I managed to take them seriously. AFC South football is a beast all its own. Despite both teams showing glaring flaws and Indianapolis the stronger team on paper, this game was something else. I wonder if anyone has ingested every illicit drug on the market at once and lived to tell the tale. That experience was probably close to what this offered. The football gods implemented a bunch of cheat codes and turned it into pure chaos. We're talking a quarterback fumble who recovers his own fumble in the second level from a Colts defender that fumbled. We're talking King Henry rumbling in his home court to take a 10-point lead. We're talking Indy making a tremendous push to tie the game, only to be strip-sacked in the red zone. Things are zany enough, but why don't we up this a notch? Titans special teams need to be nerfed. A blocked punt is one thing. The Colts will return it for a touchdown. Go for 2 to go up by 7? More like a pick 2. A mini hot pocket consumed by Tennessee to reduce the lead to 3. This calls for more special teams failure by the Titans. Payback in the form of a blocked punt. It takes out Ryan Stonehouse for the rest of the game. And also the season. Indy can't do anything with the ball at the goal line, so they're forced to kick a field goal. Begin more chaos. Will Levis punching the ball down the throat of Indianapolis without the services of King Henry, who was wounded in battle. Doing everything he can to will this Titans squad to the end zone, come hell or high water. The amazing thing is that he does. Only issue is that Ryan Stonehouse was the placeholder. They missed the extra point to keep it tied. Welcome back, Ryan Tannehill. It turns into a stalemate for the rest of regulation, and neither team can gain ground despite the wounds on both sides. With overtime awaiting, perhaps hope can spring anew. Like all things Tennessee, it's a ruse. They managed to kick a field goal despite their shortcomings, yes. The punishment is that their secondary shits it on a deep pass to Alec Pierce. Now near the goal line, all they can do is await the inevitable.
2nd and goal. Minshew going back that way. End zone. Touchdown. Ball game.
This game was the Titans' season in a nutshell. Continually selling due to a combination of elements in and out of their control. When in doubt, fire the special teams coordinator. Don't look now, but the Colts have won 4 in a row. Can't say I necessarily expected this. If they make the playoffs, Shane Steichen should be getting Coach of the Year votes. we've only got 5 weeks left in the season from hell itself. That means the playoffs are about to be seen as we crest over the hill. And then the race to the finish will truly begin. The AFC is a mosh pit as we all expected. Right now, Miami is the current number 1 seed by tiebreaker, despite questions that linger. Baltimore, after their bye week, is slotted at number 2. Kansas City and Jacksonville, after some rough losses at home this past week, are the final division leaders at 3 and 4. The 3 wildcard spots are bunched up, as the Steelers, Browns, and Colts are all 7 and 5. The Texans are also 7 and 5, but the first team out. Denver, Cincinnati, and Buffalo sit on the fringes at 6 and 6, and the Chargers and Raiders are kinda there at 5 and 7. This is the playoff situation, and the madness is only going to amplify. There's only one rule, and sadly the Panthers didn't follow it.
Don't get eliminated!
Who expected this to be for playoff position at the start of the year? Football gods have their way of keeping us on our heels. We can, at minimum, confirm one thing. Jake Browning's performance last week was not a one-off. He was guiding a balanced approach to the Bengals offense throughout the game. That is, until a small hiccup on the road. Indianapolis embraced their opportunistic nature to both go on a long drive and score a pick 6 to tie the game up at 14. Now, only if they had the offensive talent to take advantage of such momentum and keep up with Browning. Too many mistakes in the second half. Gardner Minshew further epitomizes his role as a spot starter and the special teamers muff punts. Opportunities slip away and the game drifts further and further from view. Once again, Cincinnati grasps onto their playoff hopes and refuse to let go. But they're still out of a spot right now due to tiebreaker. Indianapolis somehow is still the 7th seed. Pretty big game coming up against Pittsburgh, isn't it? With it being a home game and how bad they look, this should be manageable to win 5 of 6, right? Right, Colts? Well, this is gonna take a bit to sort out. Scriptwriters are generating so much hope that it could power a small town for years on end. A mediocrity carousel that'll make your head spin. The age of upsets brings us endless mosh pits. In the AFC, the Ravens seem to be the only team capable of separating themselves from the rest. Miami had a chance to match them, but they choked and are stuck at number 2. But that's only because the Chiefs and Jaguars have been in a state of freefall as of late due to a variety of reasons. The first wildcard spot standing alone are the Joe Flacco-led Cleveland Browns. Gotta love overcoming adversity. Speaking of adversity, the Steelers have self-imposed it on themselves, yet are somehow bullshitting their way to the 6th seed. Even zanier Indianapolis holds the final spot by tiebreaker. It's a 6-way tie for 2 spots. The Texans, Broncos, Bengals, and Bills are alongside them fighting for a chance to move on. Welcome to the mess, kids. We've got 4 games left. Only 1 spot's been clinched and 2 teams are out. Buckle up. Keep your hands inside at all times. And one more thing.
Don't get eliminated!
The better team won here. The Steelers have repeatedly owned Indianapolis nearly every time they've played them over the past 50 years, but it wasn't today. They signed their death warrant. The splash plays and fluke bullshit came early, and by hook or crook, they've scored 13 straight. Indianapolis proceeded to score 30 unanswered. Every flaw about Pittsburgh and their fraudulence was laid bare for all to see. The Colts saw a dull, uninspired team and pounced on the opportunity, torching a defense without inside linebackers or safeties. As DeMonte KZ became Mike Mitchell and Minka became a victim of injury. That's not even an excuse. The Colts were without a huge chunk of their offensive weapons. I called for Tomlin's head back in 2018, but I could always say that, the players loved him and they played hard no matter what. Here, I saw a team that gave up. The whole roster's planning January vacations. And the result is Pittsburgh getting coached into a blender. Losing 4 of 5 against supposedly easy opponents. This is a collapse. The sooner I don't have to see Kiss and Titties be ass or Najee imitating Trent Richardson, the better. Know how bad it is? Mason Rudolph was taken out of the attic and dusted off. Pack it in, the season's over. Well done, Indy. You're that much closer to a playoff berth. May the hopium consume you whole. Another tick of the clock has passed. And while several teams have secured tickets to the dance, there is so much more at stake in this final stretch. The first seed in the AFC is all but Baltimore's to gain. Barring a sudden skid, they'll be getting a needed first-round bye. Miami and Kansas City have a chance, but will need a lot of help for it to happen. The AFC East is still a contest, mostly because of Miami's choke. If the Dolphins lose these next 2 games and Buffalo wins them, it would set up a Week 18 clash for all the marbles. The AFC South is the next premier destination. With Jacksonville's recent slide, there's a three-way tie for the title. However, the Jags still control their own destiny in this regard. The Texans and Colts have roughly an even chance of claiming it for themselves. The wildcard situation is still murky. Cleveland's win has all but guaranteed them a slot, but there's still a four-way tie for two spots. Cincinnati's still rattling off wins, Indy and Houston are defying logic itself, and the Bills are coming in red hot. Pittsburgh and Denver are all but out due to recent defeats, but still have an outside chance. I wish you all good tidings and safe travels in this final week of 2023. Christmas season is hectic, but these holidays get more special with age. Enjoy your time with friends and family, cherish what you have in life, and do me one favor, please.
Don't get eliminated!
Speaking of the AFC South, the Colts crashed down to reality hard this week. To be fair, they've been playing way over their heads this season, and I commend the hell out of them for it. However, in Georgia, Indy just fell flat on their faces. It's typical Falcons football. Play like absolute shit against awful teams and in must-win scenarios, then somehow pull off a perfectly executed game plan when the season is all but lost. Finally, Arthur Smith uses logic and benches the absolutely shitty quarterback for a less shitty one. It's like we've been screaming for months. Is Taylor Heineke perfect? Hell no. But Heineke isn't throwing into triple coverage 4 separate times a game. Actually using Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts on the offense. Holy shit, it's a goddamn breakthrough. With the defense putting Minshew through hell, it's the Steelers phenomenon. Atlanta won in unbelievably convincing fashion for the first time in ages, and I'm somehow even angrier at them for it. Falcons, fuck you. Seriously, fuck you. You don't get credit when you piss away nearly an entire season. I don't care if you dominated. Get the fuck out of here. 2 more weeks to go, yet we have solved next to nothing. A few more pieces have moved into position, but very little set in stone. 2 teams clinched, 2 more eliminated, yet there are still 10 more teams that need to be cut off from the pack. Only 2 real contenders remain for the number 1 seed in the AFC. Baltimore and Miami. Conveniently, they play each other next week. The winner of that matchup likely decides the first round bye. Yet Cleveland still got a very slim chance to claim it. I don't know how, but life is strange like that. The AFC East has no change, but Miami clinches it with a win or Buffalo loss. Any other outcome will set up a Week 18 matchup for the crown and its spoils. The AFC South might be the real tank division. Everyone lost. Same scenario as last week, with Jacksonville still somehow controlling their own destiny. Don't fuck up against Carolina. The wild cards are still a hot mess. Cleveland is all but a given, but Buffalo has escaped certain humiliation with a strong run of form. The 7th seed from hell is still Indianapolis' domain. But the Texans, Steelers, and Bengals are clinging on to their rear bumper. Denver's devastating losses all but knocked them out of contention. Yet the Raiders are defying life itself. You tell me how that is. We have 2 weeks left, and the purge will shortly commence. Make your preparations now, for there will only be one phrase chanted throughout the land.
Don't get eliminated!
Indianapolis playing a home game in Week 17 against the Raiders with playoffs on the line. I think it's for the best that the Colts don't repeat what happened 2 years ago. The good news is that their quarterback isn't Carson Wentz. That alone is a critical advantage. That and this Raiders team has feistiness and snarl, but lacks more than a few things intact. Just pressing the wrong buttons at the wrong time. The defense holds the Colts offense in check, their offensive attack goes stagnant. When they can no longer hold the dam, Gardner Minshew finds Alec Pierce on the deep ball. Unable to convert big opportunities until it's too late, the defense bending on key plays over and over. Just wrong. Those mistakes add up. Indy was simply the better, more controlled team. And all Las Vegas can do is tip their cap to them. The final score is deceiving. Indy controlled this game for most of the entirety. It was a garbage time TD that put it within 3. And with this win, the Colts set the final stage against Houston next week. The ultimate test. Win or go home. How it always should be. Things got much clearer and much more confusing at the same time. I don't know how that's possible, but we must accept this chaotic landscape known as reality. There were some clinchings, however, many scenarios must be cleared up. The AFC East is still in play. With Miami's loss and Buffalo's win, it sets up a winner-take-all scenario where both teams have everything to play for. Miami will make the playoffs regardless, but Buffalo can still miss with a loss. The difference between the number 2 seed and potentially going home. The AFC South was the polar opposite of last week. Everybody won. which means that all three of Jacksonville, Indianapolis, and Houston have a shot at the division title. The Jags control their own destiny, but if they slip up, the winner of Colts Texans claims it for their own. If Jacksonville fails, there are still 2 wildcard spots open, and 2 teams will leave empty-handed. Buffalo is when in den, and the winner of Indy Houston should claim one of these spots. Pittsburgh needs some help. Either a Buffalo or Jacksonville loss, or, God forbid, Houston and Indy tie next week. Plus, they have to take care of their own business. There is a scenario where Pittsburgh gets in with a loss, but it's very convoluted. It's crunch time, boys. The final week is upon us. You've made it this far, but the cold reality is there are only so many spots available. Good luck, and may the gods smile upon you.
Don't get eliminated!
There are still 3 open spots in the AFC. The main one being the AFC South, where Jacksonville controls their own destiny. But if they lose, the winner of Houston-Indianapolis steals it in the night. Buffalo, Houston, and Indy only need wins to clinch a playoff spot. Pittsburgh, however, needs some help to get a backdoor entry. Either a Bills or Jaguars loss. But they have to take care of their own business. This is what the final week of play is all about. Win or go home. All or nothing. Those are the stakes for these 2 massively overachieving teams seeking the grand prize of unlimited house money. If you're the Texans, CJ Stroud alone is a bounty many teams envy. While the Texans might be dreaming of a postseason with a 14-3 lead, one man has come to wreck those ambitions single-handedly. Jonathan Taylor. The battered Houston defense cannot stop him whatsoever. A tie game as quickly as he scurries for a touchdown. Just as we expected. A neck-and-neck affair with both groups of men desperate to move on. In some regards, the only thing ending the Colts are themselves. After a doink trading field goals with one another as neither can truly find the pay dirt in the confines of Lucas Oil. What we need is a statement drive. Guess who claims it? If you guess CJ Stroud, why are you all that surprised? Look at what he's doing. Dazzling balls, escaping acrobatics, the kind of stuff that can make franchises dream of a golden decade. He might already be here for the Texans. If Kaimi Fairbairn doesn't miss his first PAT of the year. It's desperation time for Indy. And even if he's hurt, you have to feed Jonathan Taylor with the game he's been having. This drive is all Taylor. And the red zone has been breached. 4th and short, season in the balance. Should be an easy conversion.
It's in Minshew's hand, and a drop by Goodson.
Tyler Goodson's going to be haunted by this drop and his nightmares. Bad throw, but it was catchable. Wait a minute, why wasn't Jonathan Taylor out there? If you were worried about him catching passes, what about Zach Moss? Too many mistakes send them right to the glue factory. I will say this. I respect them for a team I thought would be fucking terrible this year. It's a lot more than I can say for most. If I were to tell you that the Indianapolis Colts were going to be on the brink of making the playoffs at the start of the year, you'd have either been shitting your pants or jumping for joy. Everyone and their mother expected them to be fucking terrible. An extremely raw quarterback questions at O-line and defense, and Jonathan Taylor's holding out of Irsay's lust for Lolita. This was incredible for them, even if they massively overachieved. Nearly everything went right on the field. Revivals everywhere you look. As long as you ignore Shaq Leonard's ruination by injury, and Anthony Richardson being made of glass. Even if he's unproven, it still hurts. Shows that Shane Steichen did fantastic work with limited resources. You could argue that they only missed the playoffs due to a drop pass by Tyler Goodson and heinous ref ball against Cleveland. Both of those go differently. They host a home playoff game. It ended with a sting, but compared to how awful things looked last year, this is a godsend. Even Irsay got visited by 3 spirits and got JT extended. Now, as long as AR5 develops and the defense shores up, they'll be good. But I mainly wonder about Jim Irsay's impact. Oh shit. It's hard to overcome those kind of demons. I wish him the best of luck in recovery.